Hey, welcome to the channel. Today is January 8th, 2022, and we are off to Santiago Peak. Today we're moving from the Maple Springs trailhead. For those not familiar with the trail, the first part is basically all concrete and asphalt with several potholes. Most cars can make it, but you do need to watch out for those potholes. After a little while, you will come to this turn over a little creek, big rock, and an uphill that turns into dirt, and this is really kind of the start of the trail. For the most part, this is just a dirt trail road, no real challenges to speak of, although there are a couple offshoots. It does give a great peek into some of the untouched wilderness in Orange County. After a while, you will come across this play area to the right. I didn't stop today, but it is a fun little area with a bunch of different hills that you can climb with all sorts of skill levels. After passing through these gates, you'll travel on the dirt road for a mile or two, and then you'll eventually come to Santiago Peak. And this is the second highest peak in Orange County at 5,500 feet in elevation. After rounding the curves from Santiago Peak, you'll see our final destination, Santiago Peak. There it is right ahead of us right now. The road is somewhat rocky getting up there. It's not too bad as long as you have a high clearance vehicle, standard Forester or Outback or any four-wheel drive should make it without any problem. Once you actually get up to the peak, there's quite a few little turnoffs and side trails you can take, some of which are simple, some of which are pretty challenging. In my case, I hadn't actually taken this path before. It is actually relatively steep, so I did put myself in 4 low just to make sure I get up pretty easily, especially since I was solo. Some of the pathways are pretty narrow. Some of them do have ruts in them. In this particular case, oops, a little bit of a sound there. I did stop to check it out. It was actually just one of my steps, so no big deal. This is a fairly new truck, so I was a little freaked out, to be honest with you. And here's one of the more fun parts of Santiago Peak. There's a little trail that goes down to a little vista area where most folks take pictures or relax. It is downhill, it is rutted. I suggest a four-wheel drive with good clearance on this part. You could probably tackle it in an all-wheel drive, but you may have some challenges. Here's a better view of some of those ruts. On my Ranger, I did get on three wheels a couple of times. If you're a really deft driver and want to go down this path and avoid the ruts, you actually can. I've done it before, the previous time I took my truck up. But be prepared for some rather large ruts. And we've made it. In most cases, Santiago Peak can be really busy, especially on weekends. As you can see, a few vehicles here already, and I did pass a couple vehicles on my way up, so be prepared for crowds, but there are some amazing views from this location. With that said, it was time to head back. So I'd play a little bit more with my truck since it is new, and so for this actual first section, I did use the Ranger's trail control, where you basically just set a speed. It's kind of like a cruise control for off-road, and it actually works pretty well. The biggest problem with trail control is the fact that I always want to try and go a little bit faster than it's going, even though I probably should not, as you will see later in this video. So here we're coming back to that gate you saw earlier. There is a little side path I decided to take, a little offshoot, which is a little rutted out, but not too bad for the most part. Except for right here. And again, I was probably going a little faster than I should, but again, it was just the steps I have on the side of the truck. No big deal, no damage, fortunately. As mentioned, it does get somewhat busy here at Santiago Peak. In this particular case, I was driving downhill in two-wheel drive and couldn't quite make it back up to let this guy pass, so I did put it back into four-wheel drive. It is quite noticeable at times. Some of the areas are a little loose, but in most cases you can make it with two-wheel drive. And as mentioned, it's basically dirt road and asphalt road till you get back down to the bottom. And as I mentioned, it does get busy. So as you can see, a small group here getting ready to head up. They're all airing down. And that's pretty much for the trail. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.